The stars shone brightly over the quiet cities of Earth, but the calm was only on the surface. Humanity had spread across the solar system, living on colonies and space stations, but the people never felt completely safe. Deep in the darkness of space, something waited, something that could destroy all that humans had built. Scientists had noticed unusual energy signals near the edge of the solar system. They could not explain them, but everyone felt the fear growing. Then, one morning, reports came from telescopes and satellites all over Earth. A fleet was moving through space. Massive ships, unlike anything humans had ever seen. They were silent and fast, and they were heading straight for the planets. People panicked. Markets crashed, governments declared emergencies, and families huddled together watching the skies. Rumors spread faster than the official news. Some said it was a test, some said it was the end. No one knew. In the middle of all this fear, a young fleet commander named Alina Cruz prepared her team. She was only 32, but her skill and courage were already famous. She stood on the bridge of the Earth's defense fleet, looking at the holographic display of the approaching armada. Each ship was larger than a city. Each ship carried weapons beyond imagination. Alina could feel her heart pounding, but she did not show it. She knew panic would only make her crew lose hope. As the alien fleet moved closer, small human reconnaissance ships tried to intercept them. Almost all were destroyed before they could send back any information. The aliens moved like shadows through space, their ships reflecting no light, leaving no trail. Humanity's weapons seemed weak against their shields. Every moment brought new tension. On Earth, people could see nothing, but they could hear the news. One by one, communications with colonies on Mars, Europa, and Titan started failing. Panic grew faster than the scientists could explain. It was as if the aliens were hunting something, moving with a plan that humans could not understand. Alina studied the signals from the alien ships. There was a pattern, but it was different from anything she had seen. It was clever, almost intelligent. She realized the aliens were not just attacking, they were searching. She called her second-in-command and said, "They are not here to destroy everything blindly. They are looking for something, and I think it is important." Her team felt the weight of her words, fear mixed with determination. Humanity had never faced such an enemy before. Every move had to be perfect, or it would be the last mistake anyone made. Night fell on Earth, but the stars seemed darker than usual. The alien fleet had reached the orbit of Mars. Small colonies sent urgent messages, begging for help. Some were already under attack. Alina coordinated the fleet, sending warning signals, planning small defenses. But she knew humanity could not win a large fight yet. They had to survive, find a way, and strike at the right moment. Meanwhile, children slept unaware, families argued in fear, and soldiers prepared their weapons. Every eye turned toward space, waiting for the moment when the first strike would come. Then it happened. A colony on the edge of the solar system sent a final message before disappearing completely. Elena's fleet intercepted the signal. She listened as the crew of the colony reported huge alien ships emerging from nowhere, attacking with strange beams that cut through metal like paper. The colony fought bravely, but it was over in minutes. Elena's hands clenched around the controls. She took a deep breath and said, "We cannot fight them yet. We can only watch, learn, and wait for the right moment. Humanity will survive. We must survive." Her voice was calm, but inside she felt fear gnawing at her. The alien fleet moved closer to Earth. No one knew what they wanted. Every human heart felt the same fear. The cities on the surface lit up with alarms, spaceships scrambled, and the world held its breath. Alina stared at the stars, thinking about the families she had to protect, the young soldiers who trusted her, and the billions of people who had nowhere to hide. She knew the first strike was coming soon. It would test everything humans had learned, everything they had built, everything they hoped for. As the night stretched into early morning, the silence of space was broken by the hum of alien engines. The humans could not see them yet, but they could feel them. Alina looked at the display, saw the dark shapes moving closer, and whispered to herself, "This is not the end." It is the beginning of the fight that will decide the future of humanity. The sun rose over Earth, but no one noticed. Everyone was too busy watching the skies. The alien fleet had moved closer, their enormous ships casting shadows even in the vacuum of space. Captain Elena Cruz prepared her fleet. They were smaller, less armed, and far outnumbered, but they had one advantage: courage and quick thinking. Her ships lined up in the asteroid belt near Mars. They knew the aliens were coming. Every pilot knew this might be their first and last battle, yet they trusted Elena completely. Elena studied the alien ships on her display. They moved as one, like a single organism. No one could understand their language, their signals, or their intentions. Humans had only guesses. Some thought the aliens were looking for resources. Some thought they wanted to enslave colonies, but Elena knew it did not matter. They had to fight. She sent out reconnaissance drones to observe the aliens. The drones moved quickly, invisible in the vast darkness. Every second was crucial. The first contact happened suddenly. A small human scouting ship detected a massive alien vessel emerging from the shadows. It was taller than mountains, with weapons that glowed like liquid fire. Elena's fleet tried to intercept, sending missiles and energy blasts, but most bounced off the alien shields. One pilot, young and brave, shouted over the comms, "We can't stop them." Elena kept calm and ordered, "Keep them distracted. We need time to analyze their attack patterns." Every human ship became a shield, moving carefully, dodging attacks while trying to learn how the aliens fought. Hours passed. The alien fleet struck multiple colonies at the edge of the solar system. Some were destroyed, but humans began to notice something. The aliens moved with patterns, not randomly. They reacted to attacks in predictable ways. Elena realized they could use that to their advantage. She called her team and said, "We cannot destroy them, but we can trick them. Watch their moves, follow the rhythm, and wait for the opening." Her plan was risky, but it was the only hope humanity had. Elena's fleet executed the maneuver with precision. They split into smaller groups, attacking the aliens from unexpected angles. One human ship managed to strike the weak point in the alien shield. It was a tiny success, but enough to give hope. The alien ship faltered for a moment, and a burst of explosions lit the darkness. Humans cheered quietly over the comms. It was the first time anyone had ever heard an alien ship. The victory was small, but it was real. Elena felt a spark of hope, knowing that humanity could fight back. On Earth, news of the first human success spread. People waited anxiously, watching the skies, listening to updates. Some cried with relief, some prayed, and some refused to believe it. But the mood was different. For the first time, humans felt that survival was possible. Elena knew it was not enough. The aliens were still powerful, still relentless. But humans had learned something important. The alien fleet could be challenged. They were not invincible. The next challenge came quickly. Another alien vessel appeared near Saturn's orbit, larger than anything humans had faced. Elena's fleet moved cautiously, analyzing its attacks. The aliens seemed curious now, reacting differently to human maneuvers. Elena realized they were learning just as humans were learning. She ordered a daring move, sending a small strike team closer to the alien ship. The team fired concentrated energy beams at the ship's weak point. There was a moment of silence, then the ship's hull cracked slightly. It was not a destruction, but a dent, and it was enough. Humans had made the aliens hesitate. Elena watched her fleet, proud of their courage. "We are stronger than they know," she said softly. Her words were carried over the comms, giving hope to every pilot and crew member. Humanity had survived the first encounter, and it had left a mark. Even a small dent in the alien ship was a victory that humans would remember forever. As the battle paused, the alien fleet retreated slightly, as if reassessing. Humans had survived, learned, and adapted. Elena knew this was just the beginning. The aliens would return, stronger and smarter, but humans had proven something important. They could fight. They could win. The first victory was small, but it was the start of something larger, the spark that could grow into a flame. Elena looked at the stars. thinking about the fight ahead. The alien fleet was vast and powerful, but humans were clever, brave, and determined. The first victory gave them hope, but it also reminded them of the cost. Many ships were lost, and many lives were gone, but the survivors carried the fire of resistance. Humanity had taken the first step, and the story was only beginning. The night stretched across the solar system, quiet but tense. Humans repaired their ships, prepared for the next encounter, and learned from every mistake. Alina knew that the aliens were watching, waiting. But she also knew that humans would never give up. The first victory was not the end, but it was proof that even against impossible odds, humanity could fight back, and maybe one day they could win. After the first encounter, humanity was no longer paralyzed by fear. The tiny victory had sparked hope, but it had also revealed how strong the aliens truly were. Captain Alina Cruz called her commanders together on the Earth Defense Fleet. They gathered in the strategy room. Holographic maps of the solar system glowing in front of them. Every colony, every fleet, every ship had to be part of the plan. They could not afford mistakes. Alina spoke calmly, her eyes scanning each face. The aliens are learning. Every attack we make teaches them something, but we can use that against them. We have to trick them, lure them into a trap, and then strike hard. The commanders nodded, understanding the risks. The plan was simple, but dangerous. They would split their forces, sending smaller groups to draw the aliens' attention, while the main fleet stayed hidden behind Saturn's rings. It was a dangerous gamble. If the aliens discovered them too soon, it could be the end of humanity's fleet. Every pilot knew the danger, but courage and determination outweighed fear. They had already seen that survival was possible. Alina walked through the hangar bays, watching pilots prepare their ships. Young men and women, trained for this moment, checked weapons, shields, and engines. Some prayed quietly, others stared at the stars, imagining the battle ahead. Alina stopped beside a rookie pilot, offering a reassuring smile. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is moving forward even when you are afraid, she said. The pilot nodded, gripping the controls of her fighter. The first phase of the plan began at dawn. Small human strike teams moved toward the outer colonies, sending signals and flares to attract the aliens. Massive alien ships reacted immediately, moving faster than anyone expected. The humans pulled back, carefully leading the aliens toward the hidden fleet. Alina's heart pounded as she watched the holographic display. Every movement had to be precise. One wrong step, and the trap would fail. Hours passed with tense silence. The aliens advanced methodically, scanning for hidden ships. They fired beams of light that cut through space like lasers, destroying anything in their path. Alina's fleet stayed hidden, observing the aliens' patterns. She realized that the aliens were not just hunters, they were thinkers. Each strike, each pause, each retreat showed intelligence. But humans had something the aliens did not: strategy. Alina directed her fleet, sending coded signals, adjusting positions, and waiting for the perfect moment. Then the moment came. The alien fleet moved too close to Saturn's rings, distracted by the flares and signals from the strike teams. Alina gave the order, and the main human fleet emerged from the shadows. Hundreds of ships fired simultaneously, energy beams and missiles striking the alien vessels. The surprise was immediate. The aliens faltered, shields glowing and sparks flying from damaged holes. Humanity had caught them off guard, just as planned. For a brief moment, hope shone brightly. Pilots shouted in joy over the coms, cheering at the sight of alien ships faltering. But Alina knew the victory was only temporary. The aliens adapted quickly. New ships moved forward, replacing the damaged ones. Their attacks became faster, more coordinated, and more deadly. One human ship exploded, sending debris floating across the battlefield. Another ship barely escaped a massive energy beam. The fight was far from over. Alina's mind raced. They could not destroy the entire alien fleet, but they could survive long enough to learn more. She ordered her pilots to maintain the attack, but to retreat in small groups if necessary. Every action was calculated. Every decision could save lives or cost them. Slowly, the aliens began to withdraw, retreating beyond the asteroid belt, leaving small groups behind to continue searching. Humanity had survived the trap, damaged some alien ships, and learned their patterns. Back on Earth, people watched the news in awe and fear. Humanity had struck back, but the aliens were still out there, waiting. Alina stood on the bridge, staring at the stars. She knew the next attack would be even harder. The aliens were intelligent, patient, and relentless. But humans had hope, courage, and a plan. The first counterattack had succeeded, proving that even against a superior enemy, strategy and determination could make a difference. As night fell over the solar system, the fleets repaired their ships and prepared for the next move. Alina walked alone on the observation deck, thinking about the cost of each battle. Many lives had been lost and many ships destroyed, but humanity was still alive, and survival was the first step toward victory. She whispered quietly, "We have learned, we have fought, and we will fight again. This is only the beginning." The stars above were silent, but Alina knew they were watching. The aliens had noticed the humans' cleverness. They would return stronger and smarter. But humanity had also noticed something crucial. They were not helpless. They could fight back, they could plan, and they could win. The stage was set for the next encounter, and the tension in the solar system grew thicker with every passing moment. Humanity had survived another day. The war was far from over. After the first counterattack, humanity understood one thing clearly. The aliens would return, stronger and faster. Captain Alina Cruz called her fleet together for a new plan. This time, it was not just a small trap or a scouting mission. Humanity needed a real defense, something that could protect the colonies, the ships, and the people on Earth. Engineers, scientists, and commanders worked together around the clock. Space stations were upgraded, weapons were improved, and fleets were reorganized into battle groups ready to respond at a moment's notice. Alina oversaw every detail. Knowing that the survival of humanity depended on their preparation, the solar system became a place of tension. Every orbit was watched, every signal analyzed. Satellites and drones scanned the edges of space, searching for even the smallest alien movement. Communication networks buzzed constantly, reporting every anomaly. People on Earth felt the pressure. Schools and businesses continued, but everyone knew that life had changed forever. Fear was a constant companion, but so was determination. Humanity could not run. They could not hide. They had to fight, and they had to be ready. Alina trained her pilots personally. They practiced maneuvers, drills, and attacks. Every crew member learned the weaknesses and patterns of the alien fleet. The humans had no illusions. They were weaker in number and technology, but they had something powerful: strategy, courage, and the ability to think quickly under pressure. Alina reminded her teams that the aliens could adapt, but humans could adapt too. She said, "We may be smaller, but we are clever. Every move we make can turn the battle in our favor if we act wisely." Her words inspired the pilots, giving them strength despite the fear they felt. The aliens, meanwhile, were observing. Scouts had returned to the edges of the solar system, gathering information. Their enormous ships moved silently like shadows in the darkness. Humans had seen their patterns, but the aliens were changing them. They were learning from every encounter. The tension in the solar system grew as the alien fleet slowly advanced toward Mars. Earth prepared for the worst. Colonies reinforced their defenses, and evacuation plans were ready. But everyone hoped that the new human preparations would be enough. Then came the first warning of the new attack. Small alien ships appeared near the outer colonies. They moved faster and more intelligently than before, avoiding traps and ambushes. Human scouts reported back, sometimes barely escaping alive. Elena's fleet intercepted some of them, but the battles were fierce. Pilots called out over the comms as they dodged beams of energy, maneuvered through debris, and fired at ships twice their size. Each encounter taught humanity something new, but it also reminded them how dangerous the enemy was. Back on Earth, scientists worked tirelessly. New weapons were tested, faster engines installed, and shields improved. Every success gave hope. Every failure reminded humans of the stakes. Families watched the skies nervously, praying that the defenses would hold. Even with the fear, there was a feeling of unity. Humanity was not just fighting to survive individually. They were fighting together as one. Alina understood that morale was as important as weapons. The people had to believe that survival was possible, or everything would crumble before the aliens even arrived. As the aliens advanced, a major threat emerged near Jupiter. A massive alien ship appeared, larger than any human fleet could handle. It sent out waves of smaller attack ships that tore through the defenses of nearby colonies. Elena's fleet moved quickly, trying to slow them down. Her pilots executed daring maneuvers, distracting the aliens while civilians were evacuated and colonies reinforced. Explosions lit the darkness of space, reflecting on the gas giant below. The battle was intense, and humanity's forces were pushed to the limit. Alina watched from the bridge, knowing that every move was critical. The aliens were strong, but humanity had learned. They fought with intelligence, courage, and determination. Small victories were happening everywhere. A human ship damaged a large alien vessel. A colony survived a direct attack, and civilians were evacuated successfully. Each success built hope. Each loss reminded them of the danger. Alina knew that the next attack would be even bigger. The aliens were patient. They would test humanity, waiting for a weakness. For a moment of fear or mistake, night fell across the solar system, but the humans were awake, vigilant and ready. Alina looked at the stars, thinking of the battles to come. Humanity had survived, learned, and prepared, but the war was far from over. The aliens were out there, moving, observing, and waiting. The tension was unbearable, but it was necessary. Humanity had to be strong, clever, and united. And in the darkness of space, among the stars and planets, a feeling grew that even against this vast and powerful enemy, humans had a chance to fight, to survive, and perhaps one day, to win. The day of the counterattack finally arrived. Captain Alina Cruz stood on the bridge of the flagship, her eyes fixed on the stars. The alien fleet had advanced farther into the solar system, testing every defense humanity had built. Now it was time to strike back, not with small attacks, but with everything humanity had. Every ship, every pilot, every weapon was part of the plan. Alina knew the risks. If the plan failed, it could mean the end for billions of people. But she also knew that waiting any longer would give the aliens more time to adapt. Humanity had to fight now. The fleet moved in perfect formation, hiding behind asteroids and debris, ready to emerge at the right moment. Small human teams acted as bait, drawing alien ships toward the trap. The tension was unbearable. Every second counted. Every signal mattered. Pilots stayed silent, listening to the hum of their engines and the distant echoes of alien ships. Elena's voice came over the comms, steady and commanding. Remember what we are fighting for. Remember that we are not alone. Humanity is strong, and today we show them why. The aliens reacted as expected. Their ships moved toward the decoys, sending waves of smaller attack vessels. Human teams retreated, leading the aliens closer to the main fleet hidden behind Saturn's rings. The first shots fired, and space exploded with light. Energy beams collided with shields, missiles streaked through the darkness, and explosions illuminated the rings of Saturn. For the first time, humanity fought not just to survive, but to strike decisively. Alina watched as the alien fleet struggled to adapt. Humans had studied their patterns, their signals, and their reactions. The fleet executed maneuvers the aliens could not predict. One human strike team managed to breach the shield of a massive alien vessel, sending sparks flying across its hull. Pilots cheered quietly over the comms, but Alina reminded them that the fight was far from over. The aliens were patient, and they learned quickly. Every victory could turn into a trap if humans grew careless. Hours passed. Battles raged near Saturn, with each side testing the other. The aliens sent reinforcements from the outer edges of the solar system. Explosions rocked human ships, and some crews did not survive. Yet humanity held their ground. Every attack was calculated, every maneuver precise. Alina coordinated from the flagship, giving orders and adjusting plans as the battle unfolded. It was a chaotic dance of light and fire, but humans were learning faster than the aliens expected. Then came the moment that would define the battle. A massive alien warship, larger than any other, advanced toward the hidden human fleet. It unleashed a devastating beam of energy that could destroy multiple human ships at once. Elena's heart raced. She gave the order for the fleet to split into smaller groups, surrounding the alien vessel. Human pilots executed daring maneuvers, distracting the enemy while a concentrated strike team targeted its weak points. The plan was risky, but it was humanity's best chance. The strike team fired, missiles hitting the alien ship's hull. Energy beams followed, striking the same point again and again. The alien vessel shuddered under the assault. For a moment, silence filled the comms. Then, sparks and explosions erupted from the enemy ship. The first major alien vessel humanity had ever damaged was falling apart. Pilots cheered, shouting over the comms, their voices trembling with disbelief and relief. Humanity had achieved what many thought impossible, yet the battle was not over. Other alien ships advanced, sending waves of attacks. Human ships were damaged, and some were lost. Alina knew the aliens would retaliate with even more force. The victory of one vessel was only the beginning. Humanity had proven they could strike back, but the war was far from won. Every pilot, every crew member, and every commander understood that survival depended on continued courage, quick thinking, and unity. As night spread across the solar system, the human fleet regrouped. Repairs began immediately, and preparations for the next engagement were underway. Alina stood on the bridge, staring at the stars. She knew the aliens were observing, learning, and planning their next move. But she also knew humanity had sent a message. They would not be destroyed without a fight. The first major counterattack had succeeded, and for the first time, the aliens had felt fear. Alina whispered quietly to herself, "This is only the beginning. We have shown them we can fight, and we will show them that humanity never gives up." The stars above were quiet, but the tension in space remained. Humanity had won a victory, but the war was far from over. The aliens would return, and the next battle would test everything humans had learned. Yet for now, hope burned brightly across the fleet, and the fire of resistance could not be extinguished. The solar system was tense and quiet. The alien fleet had withdrawn slightly after the human counterattack. But Captain Alina Cruz knew they were only waiting for the right moment. Humanity had learned a great deal, repaired their ships, and trained their crews. The colonies were stronger, the fleets better organized, and the people more determined than ever. Alina stared at the holographic map of space, planning every move carefully. This time, humanity would not only defend, they would strike decisively, showing the aliens that Earth and its colonies would never surrender. The plan was ambitious. Every fleet, every pilot, every weapon would take part. Humans had studied the aliens' movements for months, learning how they thought and how they reacted under pressure. They had discovered a weakness in the alien communication system, a small flaw that could be exploited. Alina gathered her commanders and said, "We cannot destroy them all at once, but we can force them into retreat. We will use their own tactics against them. We will show them that humanity is not afraid." The commanders nodded, determination shining in their eyes. The battle began near the outer colonies, where the aliens had gathered their forces. Human scouts drew the aliens forward, just as in previous encounters, but this time the trap was larger and more precise. The hidden fleet emerged from behind asteroids and debris, ready to strike. Energy beams, missiles, and concentrated fire rained down on the alien ships. For the first time, humans fought not only to survive but to dominate. The aliens faltered, unable to predict the coordinated attack. Alina watched carefully. Every ship followed orders perfectly. Pilots dodged deadly energy blasts, struck at weak points in the alien hulls, and used teamwork to outmaneuver the massive fleet. Slowly, the aliens began to retreat. Sparks and explosions marked their path as human attacks inflicted damage the aliens had never faced before. Even the massive warships struggled to maintain formation. Humanity's courage and strategy were turning the tide, but the aliens were relentless. They sent reinforcements from the edge of the solar system, attacking with renewed ferocity. Human ships were hit, and some were lost. Elena's heart ached with every loss, but she knew that retreat was not an option. She coordinated a daring maneuver, sending a concentrated strike team directly at the largest alien vessel. The team fired missiles and energy beams at the precise weak points identified by human engineers. The alien ship shuddered, sparks flying from its hull, and then it exploded in a brilliant fireball. The destruction of the massive alien ship sent shockwaves through the alien fleet. Smaller vessels hesitated, some retreated, and confusion spread. Humanity seized the moment. Every fleet struck with precision, forcing the aliens back further and further. The solar system echoed with the sounds of battle, light flashing against the dark backdrop of space. The humans had gained the upper hand. The aliens were finally on the defensive. On Earth and the colonies, people watched the news in awe and relief. Humanity had not only survived, but had achieved a decisive victory. Families cheered, soldiers celebrated quietly in their ships, and hope spread across the planets. Captain Elena Cruz stood on the bridge of her flagship, exhausted but triumphant. She knew the battle had cost lives, but the sacrifice had been worth it. Humanity had proven its strength, resilience, and courage. The aliens retreated beyond the outer edges of the solar system, leaving behind destroyed ships and a clear message. Humanity was not to be underestimated. Elena sent a communication to the remaining alien fleet, not as a threat, but as a statement. Humanity stands united. We will defend our home, and we will fight if you return. The message was simple, but its meaning was clear. Humans had survived the impossible and had won. As the solar system slowly returned to a tense calm, Elena looked at the stars. She thought about the lives lost, the courage shown, and the battles yet to come. Humanity had taken its first real victory in a war that could have ended everything. The people had learned that together they could face even the most powerful enemy. The spark of hope had become a flame, and it would continue to burn in the hearts of humans across every planet. Elena smiled quietly to herself. We fought, we survived, and we won. The future is ours to protect. The stars above were calm, but the memory of the battle lingered. Humanity had faced annihilation and emerged victorious. This was not just a battle, it was a declaration. The war had tested them, but it had also united them. Humanity's first victory was only the beginning of a story that would be remembered for generations. The last stand had become the first victory, and the universe would never forget that humans refused to be defeated.